Hi guys, hello. Welcome to the very first episode of our moving vlogs. I am literally so excited. I've been waiting like all of December to kind of get this process started, and I'm very excited to start the process with our new library room, our new like filming space. That being said, it is extremely echoey in this room, and just to kind of like spare your ears, let's go ahead and talk details in my bedroom. First of all, we are not actually moving. I'm calling these moving vlogs because I'm going to be switching up the entire house. So it's kind of going to feel like I'm moving a little bit. Long story short, Kevin and I, my partner, live with his two brothers, or did live with his two brothers. One of them just recently moved out, and then the other one ended up moving downstairs into the basement because it's like a full-size basement. And even though we're still going to be sharing like the main areas, like the living room and the kitchen and the bathroom and stuff, he does spend the majority of his time downstairs. So that kind of opened up the opportunity for me to redecorate the entire house. Again, we have all lived together for a long time, but his two brothers actually lived in this house for a couple years before we moved in. So when we moved in, I didn't want to like step on any toes and feel like I was kind of like coming in and taking over. Although now that we've all kind of like talked about it, I really don't think anyone would have cared. But I just am one of those types of people that I never want to like be a burden or be annoying or get in someone's way. So I just didn't feel comfortable with it. I never even really brought it up. But now that everyone's kind of like moved around and moved out and things like that, it made me feel more comfortable to like be able to like now finally kind of like spread out throughout the house with my own stuff. So all of that being said, the basic concept for this moving vlog series is I'm going to be basically going room by room and essentially gutting the entire thing and then refilling it with stuff that I like and redecorating, repainting, all of that jazz. That being said, a general kind of game plan for this whole process is obviously today we will be tackling the library first. And then I also plan on doing the kitchen, the living room, and we also have like a gym area. And I think that's really all I wanted to say. Oh, the general plan or the general like aesthetic of the vibe that I'm going for the house. Originally, I was thinking I was going to do like a different aesthetic for each room, but I do tend to kind of just gravitate towards the same type of aesthetic, which is just a general kind of like warmth and kind of like lived in kind of feel that is very kind of like vintage and whimsical. I'll definitely put some pictures so you can kind of see what I'm talking about because I feel like that is such a vague description, but yeah, I just want it to feel warm and like cozy, and yeah. So now that you know kind of like what's going on, let's talk about this room specifically. So obviously, as you can see, I did already put up some of my shelves, so I have already started a couple of projects before even starting to film, just because I got impatient, to be honest. That being said, one of the big projects that I've already started on, we're gonna kind of finish today, was my desk. With this new room, I kind of again want it to be my library, kind of like filming space, but then also I wanted it to be kind of like an office slash like crafting area because I have so many craft supplies, and that was another reason that this kind of room came into fruition, because I need more space to like store all of my crafting stuff, because right now it's kind of just in boxes and bins either downstairs in the basement or just shoved in a closet, and I can never really get to it because it's not very organized. That being said, I wanted a nice big desk for this room. And I actually found one, or I saw one in somebody else's video that's from IKEA that I thought would have been perfect. It was like $300+, and I don't want to spend that on a desk. So I came up with the idea to actually use filing cabinets and just like wood to make my own version, like a thrifted DIY version of this IKEA table.
We went to several different places on this day, but this is the only one we had any success with. It's a local thrift store that has a garage full of furniture. They're only open a couple of days a week, so we don't go here very often, but the few times we have, it has always been really reasonably priced. That being said, we did initially go hoping to find a chair, and we did not find one of those. But I still wanted to show you some of the shopping process just so you can get a better idea of what I'm hoping to find in the future, because spoiler, we still do not have a chair. But the first one that we saw was not at all the style or the vibe that I'm really going for, but I thought the print was so cute and so whimsical. Moving on to our second option, this is actually almost exactly what I'm looking for. I loved how like wide and squishy this one was. However, it did have a couple of really good stains in it. And then also, although I do love the vibe of the print, it's not really what I'm looking for the library. I basically want to find this exact same chair, but like just a solid color, because I also did really love like the wood accents on it as well. Like this was so tempting to get, but again, did not end up getting it. And then the last one that had a little bit of potential was this kind of like pinky salmon colored one. Again, it's not really the size or shape that I'm looking for, but I did really like the fact that it reclines. I have a very similar one to this, which is what I'm using in the room for now, but it doesn't recline. And not having that feature does annoy me because it makes it a little less comfortable. So if I absolutely cannot find a big squishy chair, I am definitely open to getting like a really cool vintage recliner. All of that being said, again, on this particular trip, we did not find a chair, but they did have filing cabinets, which I've never seen filing cabinets here before. So I feel like this was just kind of like meant to be, especially because they were all 50% off. And originally I was thinking I wanted to get one similar to the ones I just kind of like walked past, but they were all like way too tall. And when I saw this taupey kind of like purple one, I instantly fell in love. And with the sale, it was only $5. Like I would have been thrilled to spend the $10 that it was originally, but the fact that it was also 50% off and $5 was crazy to me. Also, it did have a fun little surprise inside when we got it home, but you'll have to wait a little bit to see that. And before we start building our table and starting this whole process, I did want to show you kind of like what the room looked like before I really did anything. So this first wall is going to remain blank for now. If I need more shelf space in the future, this is kind of where I want to expand, because as you've already seen, this wall is where we put the shelves. And I did want this to be a full like floor to ceiling wall of books. And again, if I need to expand, they will just continue onto this next wall. This is also where my little craft closet is going to be. The closets in this house are very small and very tiny, especially this one. So I think it'll be perfect for just like a craft closet. And then the last wall, aside from the window wall, which I just plan on putting some curtains on, we have what will be my built-in DIY desk / crafting table. And as you can see at this point, we did already kind of start the process. We had painted and put up a like wood brace piece for the table. And now that we have our filing cabinet, let's go ahead and finish the job. After putting up the brace piece, we moved our filing cabinet to one side of it, and I just kind of like slapped on the big old slab of wood on top. And my partner basically just nail gunned the tabletop to the brace that is attached to the wall.
Pachoo, 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 pachoo. Okay.
And if you're wanting to do something similar, this is a 6-foot long piece of wood and it's 20 inches wide, which cost us $35. So we're at a total of $40 for the project so far. Then to make it look more finished, he also added some smaller pieces of wood around the edges. And of course we did add a leg to the non-filing cabinet side for more stability. And all of those pieces of wood plus the piece on the wall was a whopping $9. So $49, basically $50 is the total of this table, which is absolutely crazy, significantly cheaper. And I love the fact that it's like DIY and vintage. It just makes it that much more special in my opinion. That being said, actually some extra costs that I didn't put into consideration because it was stuff that we already had. I used some wood filler in the holes that the nails made to kind of like make it look cleaner. And then I also did paint and I put a finish on the top of it as well. But again, we already own that stuff, so I'm not adding that to the price.
And as promised, I do want to show you the little surprise that is in our filing cabinet. I don't know if you really noticed from the footage, but when I first got it, it was taped up at the top. And I do definitely need to hit this with like some Goo Gone because we still have some residue on there. But that being said, it was taped up, so I didn't actually know what the inside of this looked like. I was just kind of hoping that it would have like a couple of shelves or something in there, and it was so much better than I thought it was going to be. This first drawer is just kind of like a shallow, regular drawer, and I'll probably use this for like my office supplies and stuff like that, like pens and markers and whatnot. And then we have two kind of like regular filing cabinets, and I will probably use at least one of these for like actual filing, but the other one I'll probably just leave for like random stuff. And then again, behind door number 1, we have a freaking safe. How cool is that? I feel like this might be very anticlimactic, but yeah, I have a little safe and I'm very excited about it. Again, there's nothing in it right now, but I'll try to find something to put in there. So as of today, the table's pretty much done. The only thing that I need to do is sand a couple of like the wood filler spots that I did, and then also refill some spots because it like sunk into the holes and then left more holes. So I need to like fill those in again, sand that, and also paint it. But then also something that I didn't show or like didn't film at all, we did actually put some shelving in the closet because it is going to be where I hopefully store the majority of my craft supplies. And I wanted there to be shelves so I wasn't just like stacking everything because that is something that I was doing in my old office. But if I needed something at the very bottom, I had to literally like take everything out of the closet. It was a big pain in the butt. So we added a couple of shelves, and I also need to paint those because we just used like scrap wood, so they don't look as of right now like the best, but I feel like once they're painted it'll look more purposeful, if that makes sense. And then obviously last but not least, we did already put up the shelves in this room as well. I just figured I've already shown myself do this like 3 other times. I just used the same shelves and just move them around. So I didn't want to like really show like the whole process of it again. But if you did miss those videos really quickly, here's basically how we put them together.
Admittedly, every time we hang these shelves, we find an easier way to do it. So this is what we did this time around. First, I started off by placing a couple of my tallest books onto like the current top shelf. This helps a lot with getting like the correct spacing. And then we just kind of held the next shelf on top of or like above the books. We've measured in the past and it takes so much more time and it is not foolproof. We made mistakes last time. So this time around, we just eyeballed it, kept the books on the shelves to make sure that we never were making them too short. And when we felt like we had the right spacing, I put a level in the middle of the shelf that we were hanging just to make sure that it was straight. And then we just kind of like traded off screwing in the actual shelves.
And with all of that, we are now currently up to date with everything that's happened. Again, kind of like the idea for today is to wood filler the desk, paint it, paint the closet shelves, and then start filling up this book wall. I've already started like bringing my books into this room. That's not all of them, that's probably like half, but I feel like it's a good amount to start with. So without further ado, let's get started.
In front of me, the road curves away from the sea, cutting inland. No place to see you far. Old corrugated iron roofs, broken fences, soon as the
It's been a couple of hours. The painting took me a lot longer than I thought it was going to. And I do still want to do like one more coat on the top of the desk. So I'm not going to show you those things until later. But for today, the painting is done. And I want to move on to getting some books on these shelves. I'm going to be organizing the shelves pretty much the same way that I typically do, in that same kind of system where it doesn't really have much of a system. It's just kind of like, I'm going to keep series together. And then I want to have little like chunks of color together. That's kind of just how I've been doing it, because I do add like knickknacks and stuff, and I do kind of like put some of the books facing forward just to kind of like feature some of my favorite covers and things like that. So yeah, my organization for my bookshelves is just whatever is most visually appealing. But I'm gonna go ahead and separate all of the series and just kind of like get those together, and we'll figure it out from there. I just finished the whole first pile. These are all series, and then this is a big pile of just singular books. There are so many, and I still have a bunch to grab, so I'm gonna go grab the rest of my books and finish going through them. All right, hi guys, good morning. Welcome to day 2 of getting this room together. I definitely did not get as much finished as I wanted to yesterday. The painting took me a lot longer than I thought it was going to. But I did get all of my books separated, and honestly, this looks so overwhelming. And I guess my game plan for the day is mostly to spend a good amount of time putting these books onto the bookshelves, because I can't really do anything else in here because my books are quite literally taking up every single speck of floor space that I have, which I did take a picture of my bookshelves before I dismantled them so that I can kind of like try to do the same thing, because I had finally gotten them to a point that I really liked the way they looked and liked the placement of everything. Let's get started with getting these books on our shelves.
It worked, but I'm not sure what it means, other than confirming there's something she's not telling me.
So we have officially completed the first row of the shelves. I'm not like super obsessed with the way that looks, but you're probably never gonna see it, so it's fine. Now I'm kind of like focusing on this shelf, and I did not take into consideration the fact that this was my top shelf of my shelving that I had in my bedroom. So there was a lot extra like airspace above it. For example, I had this on top of these books here. Obviously I can't do that now. However, there is, as you can see, a little bit of extra space at the end because this shelf is actually longer than the one that I had before. I think I was actually using this shelf as my top shelf in the room. So it's got a little extra space, so I can just kind of like space things out to just place taller stuff like this in between books instead of, you know, on top of stacks and stuff. But also I'm kind of like just now realizing, like really realizing that I have a lot of books. Like I know I have a lot of books, but like, I don't know, I have my 4 shelves or whatever it was in my room kind of like figured out, if you will, but I have so many other books that were just like in piles in my room that I have not taken into consideration with like making it cute, you know what I mean? So I'm getting a little stressed out, I'm getting a little overwhelmed. Also, I have more books. Literally like the day after I posted my last book haul, I ordered a few more books off of Amazon. So I also need to take those into consideration. I love like the aftermath of me figuring out the bookshelves and like making them cute and things like that, but like the during the process is so painfully overwhelming for me. So that being said, we're gonna take a little bit of a break and we're gonna do a little book haul, a little baby book haul. So the first thing that I got is Blood of Hercules. I do already own the paperback version of this book. I actually literally just bought it, I think a couple of months ago or a few months ago. And I have already read this book, but I got the hardcover of Bonds of Hercules for Christmas, and I do like to have a matching set. So this was only like $12 on Amazon. So I figured I could just get the hardcover to match, and I'll probably put the paperback on Pango. And then this book I got purely based off of the cover. Not purely, but I think one of you guys mentioned it. It was a book one of you was gonna be like reading or something this year or this month, or I don't remember exactly, but it's Once Upon a Demon's Heart. Is this cover not so freaking pretty? So yeah, even the back cover actually is kind of cool. Like I love this part up here. Basically it's about a girl who is, if I remember correctly, she's in like a time loop where she gets killed by the same knight over and over and over again. After the 20th time loop, she has finally had enough. Something has to change, lest she die at the Blood Knight's hand for the rest of time. A choice she hopes she won't regret, one to end the war between demigods and demons. Alira is shocked when she realizes that she's marrying the very knight who has slain her so many times. So she goes through this time loop over and over again where this knight is killing her, and then she decides to make a change somehow to the time loop, and now she's going to be marrying this guy. And it just sounds so good. And then I did get 2 books from the Boys of Tommen series. We have Taming 7 and then Releasing 10. I have a physical copy of Binding 13, and I honestly wasn't sure if I was gonna buy the entire series because frankly, I hate the way these covers look. But I have read the first 4 books in the series at this point, and I really, really love them. Also too, just to physically read these books, they're the floppiest things I have ever held in my life, and they're so satisfying to read. But more importantly, I do just really, really love the series. So I am going to be collecting the entire series, and these ones were super inexpensive on Amazon. I think they were both like $8 to $10. That being said, I still need the second 13 book. I can't remember what it's called at the moment, and then the 2 6 books. So at some point I need to get those as well, but I'm very excited to kind of have the next 2. Also, I did post a poll recently asking you guys what reading vlog I should kind of like start the year off with. One of the videos that I wanted to do, and the one that ended up winning the poll, was finishing series that I'm in the middle of, and this is definitely one that I would love to continue in that video. So I wanted to get the next 2 books. I don't know if I'm gonna read both of them in that video, but I'm at least gonna read this one, which is the story that I've been like craving, so I'm so excited. Except for the fact that I've not heard the greatest things about either of these 2, but we'll see how I feel. And then the very last book that I have in this order is something that I saw in a Books and Lala video. She was talking to her mom about it, and I was like, oh my god, that sounds so good. This is How to Become the Dark Lord and Die Trying. This one kind of reminded me of the concept of Long Live Evil, which we all know I absolutely love, but then also a little bit of Dungeon Crawler Carl with a little bit of Assistant to the Villain. Like, it just seems like it's gonna be a collection of like those types of vibes, and I'm so excited. It's basically about a girl that gets dropped into a video game, and she keeps like trying to be the hero of the game, but like losing. So then she changes her mind and decides, you know what, I'm just gonna be the bad guy of the video game, and I love that concept. Anyway, those are my new books. Now let's continue putting these shelves together. I'm starting to try to like put into consideration my little like trinkety things and stuff, and I just remembered I also bought this this very sad looking plant. So basically we went to Lowe's a couple of weeks ago specifically to get a plant for my bedroom actually, which they did not have the one that I wanted, so that fell through, but they had a ton of stuff on sale, and this was one of them. I think this ended up being like $8 or something like that, and I figured even if the plant died, I would still have this like really cute little like propagation thing. And literally almost immediately this thing died. Like the next day I walked into her room and it was dead. So I feel like there was nothing I could do, you know? So I am obviously gonna have to take this out and replace it. I'll just take like a cutting off of like one of my pothos plants or something like that, which is what I do for these kinds of vases and stuff. This is just like a clipping from like the end of a plant that I already have. But I still wanted to show this because is it not like so freaking cute? Ooh, also actually, hold on. Speaking of pothos, we actually did get a couple the other day, and while I was kind of like looking at my shelves to see where I wanted like the books to go and stuff, I was thinking if I hung like a little, can you see what I'm doing? Hold on. Let me move the camera over so you can actually see. Okay. I was thinking I could hang a hook from here and potentially like hang one of these plants. I'll have to like find something different to hang it from because I don't want it to be that low, but how cute would that be? So that's kind of the idea there. I'm actually just gonna hang that there so I can have that as like a placeholder. They've made some progress, quite a bit of progress. There are certain sections that I absolutely love about that, but then there's other parts that I'm still kind of not sure about. But I feel like I need to like switch gears a little bit, kind of switch things up and then get back to that later. So I thought I would do a little bit of a haul because I got a couple of things, a couple of packages from Amazon, and then I've also purchased a few things from Walmart. I'm obviously gonna add some like decor and stuff in here, and just like cozy elements that I have in my bedroom, I want to also carry into here. So without further ado, the first thing I'm gonna show you is like the stuff that I got from Walmart, which is basically just a like curtain rod. It's literally nothing fancy. I just got like a very plain looking one. And actually the way that the window is, there's obviously room for a bigger, you know, curtain, but then there's also like a little bar across the very, very top of the windows. You can actually put like smaller curtains as well. So I think I'm gonna do like a small panel of sheer ones. And then on the outside, I'm gonna do, I was originally thinking velvet, but I found some satin ones at Walmart that I think I might like better. I don't know if you can really see that, but it's kind of like a taupey kind of cream color, and they're kind of shiny. But now I'm thinking that these might just be like too neutral. Like it's literally the color of the walls basically. Also, I received a little package from a friend slash fellow booktuber that I'm so excited for. I recently posted a poll on my community tab asking you guys what disco ball I should put in this room, because I have just like a regular disco ball in my bedroom. And like I said, I want to carry some of that fun stuff in here as well. But while I was shopping for them, I realized that there are so many different like shapes, and I'll show you which one I ended up getting in a second. But again, my friend reached out to me and she was like, I really want to get you the planter disco ball so that I could like then get something else, and I could have like 2 little disco balls in my windows. And I did actually get this a couple of days ago, but I wanted to like wait to open it with you guys on camera. This is so cute. Here she is. I am so obsessed, and this is much better quality honestly than the disco ball that I have for my bedroom. And it does come with all of like the stuff that you need. There's like a little hook to hang it, which actually, because I'm planning on actually just hanging this from like the curtain rod that I end up putting up, so I can actually use this for something different, potentially even to hook onto my shelf like I was saying earlier to hang that other plant. It actually comes with 2 different ways that you can hang it, which is really cool. So they have this like macrame kind of yarn one, but it also comes with the option of hanging it by chain, which honestly is probably the way I'm gonna do it, just because I feel like this matches the actual disco ball. Which, by the way, again, the friend that sent this to me, she has a YouTube channel as well. She has the coolest TBR game, and I will leave her channel link down below. Definitely go check her out. And I just got one of these. I can't remember what it's called, but I was actually thinking that this would be the perfect size to stick in here, and it is. That is adorable. Now let's go ahead and crack into the stuff that I got myself. Here is the disco ball thing that I got myself, which literally looks like the same size as the planter. And this box is actually a little smaller than I was expecting, so I'm a little concerned now. But again, here were the options for the poll, and I ended up getting, oh no, these are about the size that I thought they were gonna be. They're so cute. Okay, so the one that I ended up getting are the pair of little hearts. There is another one in here. So there's 2 different ones, and I believe the chains are different lengths so that you can like hang them kind of like staggered. And as you can see from the poll, these ones were the ones that were least picked. But I just figured I read a lot of romance, and I don't know, I thought the hearts would be really cute. Okay, this is a very weird angle, but bear with me. Because my shelves are kind of uneven, like these ones stick out to here and then these ones are kind of sunken in, I thought maybe I could hang the hearts in this little like gap. Like maybe something like that. I don't know how that's actually gonna look though, so I don't really know. That was just an idea. And then the only other thing that I have in this box are some very stiff curtains. Again, I kind of want like long regular curtains off to the side, and then for the actual like window size, I wanted to get some more neutral kind of see-through curtains. And I'm actually gonna hang these in a minute so we can actually see what that looks like. I'm really hoping they're decent. These were literally like $5, $6, so I'm not expecting them to be like the greatest of quality. They're actually not bad. I mean, they're very like scratchy feeling. It's not like a soft material, but they look nice. They look actually a lot nicer than I thought they were going to, so I'm pleased with that. And I just ended up getting white because I figured it would match whatever outside curtain that I decided to go with, because at the time I hadn't purchased anything, and even now that I have, I'm not really sure that's what I want to stick with. So white was just like a neutral, would match with whatever I end up getting, or if I change it out in the future, yada yada. And then I'm pretty sure there's only one other thing in here, which I'm very excited for. And this is such like an overkill of a box because this is the only thing that's in it. But I got some window like cling film that's like a prism. Again, I have this in my bedroom as well, and I absolutely love it. Specifically in the evening, like when I go in my room in the evening and it's like sunny outside, there's always like a ton of rainbows and little like light dots from the disco balls all over the room. And it is, again, just like my literal favorite thing ever. It's like one of those things that like no matter how many times I see it, it still just makes me happy. So I definitely wanted to bring it into this new room as well. And I did measure my windows, so this should be like exactly the width of the window. Last time I just like bought a random roll and didn't really pay attention to the sizing, so it was a pain in the butt. And I had to kind of like piece it together. And this one is like super pretty too because it also has flowers on it. So it kind of also has like a stained glass kind of look as well. This is literally perfect. I got this out of the box and I was a little concerned because it seemed like it was gonna be a little bit wider. If you want to get like a really nice clean cut on this, I've seen people take like a razor blade or like a box cutter or something and like actually like put it up to the window and slice it across the actual window. I don't have one of those, so I just cut 2 little like slices on the side and I'm just gonna try to make it as straight as possible. Definitely not the best way to do it, but you know, no one's gonna be looking at my windows that closely. Okay, I'm gonna have to turn the lighting like way down so you can see this. But here's kind of what that window is looking like. So here's the difference. Here's like with nothing, and then here's what it looks like with the cling film. As of right now, I've only done the bottom half of the windows. I'm not really sure if I'm gonna do the top. I kind of like being able to actually like see outside still. In my bedroom, I have like one full one at the bottom and like a half one at the top. So I might do that, or I might just leave it alone. I'm not really sure. But either way, next step is to do our little white curtains on the windows, which I'm very excited to see how that looks. The curtains are a nice quality. They're nice and see-through like I wanted, except they are way too short. I literally measured and everything, so I don't know how that was so off. Basically, I wanted them to be, you know, right to here, and then the longer curtains, I want them to go from like basically all the way from there to the ground. So we're gonna have to find some new curtains. That is so unfortunate. Hi guys, good morning. Welcome to day 3 of our library room project, and I'm really hoping this will be the last day. And I am also wearing the same outfit that I wore yesterday just because this is comfy, I'm cold. All I did was organize books yesterday, so it's not like it's like dirty. Anyway, I think the last thing that we left off the day with yesterday was my little curtain situation, how it was like literally a foot plus too short. And I was just gonna order new ones off of Amazon, but we decided to just go to Walmart and see if they had anything, and thankfully they did. I need to like organize really quickly. Actually, there was a big old issue yesterday. We went to Walmart, we got different curtains. I also got another set of other curtains to potentially use. I got another like curtain rod just in case, and there was a lot of issues yesterday. So I ended up getting a couple of panels of these sheer curtains. They're 63 inches, which is a little bit longer than I actually need. So I might cut them at the bottom. I should probably sew them so they look a little bit nicer. So maybe I'll do that, but probably not today because I don't really feel like figuring that out. Anyway, we found these ones at Walmart and they're kind of like an off-white, which I think I'll like better. But then also, I ended up buying these as well, just in case. Did I show you guys the curtains? Literally every time I say the word curtains, I think of the like crazy curtain lady. There's like a YouTube video and it's kind of like accidental ASMR for like a curtain business. And this lady is just like talking so highly about this like curtain store. But she says curtains and is just going crazy about curtains for like a solid like 10 minutes or something like that. And now I feel like I am the crazy curtain lady because These are gonna be the death of me. Basically, I got these ones originally. I don't know if I said that yesterday or not, but I got these ones originally, but I was kind of concerned because of like the color of the walls that they would just be too plain. But at the same time, I was kind of worried about putting like something super colorful like this, which this was my original idea, was to do kind of like a velvet type curtain, like green curtain over here. But because literally nothing else on this half of the wall has any sort of color, I felt like it would kind of look weird just to have like these random blocks of color. But they had these for $30 at Walmart, which is about what I was gonna pay online anyway, so I figured we'd give them a shot. Turns out, when I come home, this is one panel. We're not doing that. These ones were $12 for the 2 panels. So I just refuse to spend $60 now. Also, that being said, and I don't think I got a picture of it, which I'm really writing now so I can give you like a visual, but we also hung the black curtain rod across the windows, but because I had to like extend it almost to its capacity, it was kind of like bowed in the middle. It just looked cheap, and I only spent like $15 on it, so it wasn't that big of a deal. But when we went to Walmart yesterday, I did get the green curtains, but then I was also thinking, just in case we went with these ones, I felt like the black rod would have been a little too heavy in contrast. So I ended up getting like a $3 like track instead that will just kind of like be hidden. Anyway, now that you're all kind of like caught up with the kerfluffle that was last night, let's go ahead and hang our curtains. The floor in here is so squeaky. I kind of hate that. I'm like so painfully aware of how much noise the floor is making as I'm like talking to you guys. Hopefully you can't hear it that well, but it's driving me insane. All right, these definitely look a lot more like the size I was expecting from the other ones. As I was opening those ones yesterday, I was kind of like thinking, I'm like, these don't look right. And actually that's what happened. So I didn't get the wrong size, but I didn't pay attention to what size it was talking about. So it was basically longer this way than it was this way. And I thought the longer measurement was for the length because it's a curtain. It looks so good! Yay! They're definitely a little long, but drastically better than they were yesterday. And I do love the off-white. Now we just have to put these curtains up and hope for the best. Which, by the way, this is what the new $3-4 rod looks like. She's super plain, but at least it doesn't like dip in the middle. And hopefully they look all right. I'm so nervous. I think I hate it. Oh, I think I hate it. Oh no. I think I hate it. I definitely do not love the color, first of all. But also they're like not very wide, like at all. Yeah, we put the end of the rod way over there so that I could like make sure that when they were open, they weren't really blocking any part of the actual window because the lighting in this house in general is not great. So I didn't want to obstruct any of it, but I honestly don't think I needed to worry about that at all because this panel is like this wide. Kind of hate that. Kind of hate that a lot. For shits and gigs, since we already have this like opened and everything, I think I'm gonna hang this one on one side to see which one I like better. The fact that it's so skinny, and then also too, I really hate that the one side of this is black. Like these are blackout curtains. I don't really care about that. I just cared about the fact that they were decent looking and they were cheap. But I hate the fact that you can see this if it turns, which it keeps wanting to do. So I'm gonna hang one of these and we'll see how that goes. Okay, well, here's what those ones look like, and then here's what these ones look like. First of all, these ones are much wider, so it actually does like go to the middle all the way and all the way over there, whereas this one, if I was to pull it all the way to the middle, you can see that whole big old gap over there. So right there, the green is winning. Oh my god, it's so dark in here. But also with the length of these ones, they're actually touching the floor, whereas these ones are not. So, also too, I do love the green way more than I like that color. This color just is looking, I feel like it's just like too cool toned, because this is kind of like a warmer off-white. The walls are kind of like a warmer off-white, and then these are just kind of looking gray, and I hate that. Also, the green, it just looks a lot better as far as like, you know, I have a lot of plants and stuff on my bookshelves, and also I do have this plant that I want to hang. Someone is calling me. The curtain saga continues. So I definitely preferred the green curtains way better than the other one, so I will be returning those, but I will also be returning that green one like I was originally going to do, because I was very tempted just to go to Walmart and buy another one because it'd be a lot quicker, a lot easier. But the ones that I found on Amazon are a color that I think I would prefer. It's more of like a sage green versus that kind of like darker hunter green, and they're $30 for 2 panels, not just one, and I just cannot bring myself to spend double when I definitely do not need to. And aside from that, the only other thing that I really need to do is I do want to put a clear coat on my desk. Actually, what we can do today is I can fill up this bookcase, because I have all of these books, which are kind of like more of my cutesy like romances and stuff like that. These are all, for the most part, like contemporary romances, some alien romances. All the books that I have that are kind of like very brightly colored and cutesy looking, I was keeping in here, but we can put that together and that will get kind of rid of some of this pile, and also maybe some of these other kind of like pink books and stuff I can add to there, so I know I don't need to worry about putting them on the shelves. Guys, we are on to the very last day of this room makeover. Whether it's complete to my specifications or not, we are finishing this today. This is honestly taking me so much longer than I thought it was going to, specifically because of a couple of different things. One, I have not been able to find a reading chair. I was really hoping to thrift one, like I mentioned before. We've gone to several different restores, and I've been looking up estate sales every single weekend, but there haven't really been a whole lot. I think it's just because it is like the middle of winter and nobody wants to like hold an estate sale, I guess, when there's snow on the ground. I don't know. So for now, I'm just gonna actually use my gold chair that I had before, and I'll get another chair at some point, hopefully. And then also, the curtain saga has finally ended. That has been the biggest pain in the butt in the world, but I finally found some curtains. Here's what the new curtains look like. They're kind of like a sage green, kind of like velvet type of material, and I really, really like them. They're very similar to the panel that I had from Walmart, but I like this color a lot better because it's lighter, so it does kind of like fit the room a little bit more. I feel like the other one made the room look like kind of darker. But then also another thing that I really appreciate is the other side of the curtain is the same color as the front. So basically the only thing that we have left to do in this room, because I also did set up my computer in here over the weekend just because I hated being in that other room because it was so dark. And now that this one had like my table up and stuff, I really wanted to like work in here. So I brought my computer in here, but other than that, I haven't really brought anything else. So the plan for the day is to hang these curtains, bring in like the rest of my office stuff, like my printer and things like that. I also have like a little vintage lamp table thing that I want to bring in here. Potentially a little coffee table. I'm not going to be hanging anything on the walls for now just because I have no plan for that whatsoever. This is kind of just very much a starting point. So Anyway, let's go ahead and get started. Hopefully we can finish this quickly because yeah, again, this has been taking me so long and I really want to move on to other rooms in this house. Walking into the room, here's like a quick little sweep of the whole thing. And we'll go ahead and just go, I guess, like wall by wall. Here's what the book wall looks like. And I feel like this side of the wall looks so plain. But when the door is actually open, it makes more sense. And I also do like hide all my tripods and stuff like that behind this door. So ignore that. And then here's kind of like the full book wall and like reading area. Again, I do want to replace this chair eventually, but I did thrift this for like, I think like $10 a couple of years ago. It's comfy enough for now. And then this little like side table lamp is also thrifted. I thrifted this for, I think also like $5-10, like something super inexpensive. And this is just like a little decorative mushroom that I got from TJ Maxx a while back. And as you can see, I do have like a bunch of different like stacks of books down there. It does go all the way to the wall. So I definitely do need to extend the shelves out onto this wall eventually, but I think I'm gonna wait a little bit. If I'm gonna extend, I kind of want to extend all the way up and not just have like 1 or 2 shelves because I feel like that would look weird. So I'm gonna wait until I have like more books, but for now, here's kind of like the leftover ones. And I did actually organize these ones a little bit. So like I said, this does go all the way to the wall. This stack, aside from these 2 books and these 2 stacks over here, are all books that I have read. All of these ones are ones that I have not read yet. And I don't really want to do like a full tour of the bookshelves because I just feel like, I don't know, that would take a long time. But I will show you a couple of like my favorite areas up close. So first of all, I love this shelf. This is like, no matter where I move the shelves, I kind of always do this. I just really love this little like grouping of gold and black. And I love that it kind of like goes into the red. And I love the fact that I have a special edition of one of my favorite books to now feature. And I do still need to get a plant for this little mouth, but I'll do that eventually. Also too, speaking of plants, I was not able to hang this one yet. I definitely still need to do that, but here's kind of like what that in general will look like. And then also next to it is kind of like a random like empty spot. I know I have like all of these books I could have as like options to put there, but for now I just put those couple of books. I also really love this section. Riftborn is supposed to go here, but I'm like currently reading it, so it's missing, but I love this little section as well. I also love this little section, how like the orange from this kind of jumps over to here and it kind of transitions over. And I do actually have a couple of blank spots because I need to buy the 2nd and 3rd book, and I'm just kind of like in advance making space for them because I do plan on reading the series soon. Also, I really love this section purely for my little wooden guy. I got him from like a little antique store a while back, and typically this kind of thing like creeps me out, but for some reason he just gives me such good energy. So he just kind of is like a little guardian of my bookshelves, and love that guy. It definitely still needs a little bit of work, and again, I do need to extend onto this wall at some point, but I am super happy with what this looks like. And I'm just like so excited I finally have like my floor to ceiling book wall. So there's that. And then kind of like swinging over from that wall, we have this one, which can we just appreciate the light dots all over the wall? Like, again, this just makes me so happy. If you don't have a disco ball in your window, highly recommend, which speaking of, here's kind of like what they look like. We've got the plant one, and then we've got our couple of hearts. Is that just not like so cute? And then again, this is my craft closet, which this still needs to be organized a little bit and added more things to it. But here's kind of like what she's looking like
for now. Moving on from our craft closet, here is the full view of kind of like the office space slash our curtain situation, which I am so obsessed with. I really love the way it turned out. I just think this looks so cute. And then here, last and finally, is our desk slash craft table with another bookshelf over here, which I do have a link, like a discount code for this bookshelf if you're interested, which I'll leave in the description box. I love this thing. This just makes me feel like I'm like shopping at a store every time I'm like looking for a book. Although I will say when it's like fully loaded, it is a little bit harder to turn. I mean, it still turns, obviously, but you have to like put a little bit of muscle into it. But I still absolutely love it. I'm super obsessed. And on top of it, we just have a couple of books and my dogtail cactus. And then again, here is kind of like the desk situation. I definitely feel like I need to put something on the wall. And I already gave you like a little bit of a tour of what this looks like on the inside. In the beginning of the video, it looks literally exactly the same. I still have not put anything in it yet. Something new that I didn't show you guys at all was these little placemats that I got. I basically live at this desk, so I end up eating a lot of meals here. And because this is like a white table, and although I did put like a finish on it, it's not like the best finish, like it's not really that solid. I just don't want to ruin the table is what I'm trying to say. So I got these little like placemats so that I can like put my food and my drinks and stuff on it and not worry about ruining the table. I got these at Home Goods for like $5. They were on sale, and I love the fact that they were like vintage looking, and they just accidentally happened to match my chair and pillow, which I thought was perfect. Ignore the trash in my trash bin. But yeah, I think that looks super cute. And then here obviously is my computer, and I had to like squeeze my printer down here. Originally I was gonna put the printer over here, but I just didn't want like a big bulky thing just like sitting on the tabletop all the time. Again, I want to use this for crafting and stuff, so I want to try my best to like keep the table as clean as possible so that anytime I want to do something, I can just like take something out of the closet, set it up, and do the craft or do whatever it is that I want to do. And with that, that is the end of our first episode of our moving vlogs. Again, for like the bajillionth time, I definitely have some things that I want to like adjust, change out, add to this room. But this is kind of like the starting point, and I'm very happy with it. I'm very excited, and I cannot wait to film my first video in here. So anyway, with that, that is everything that I have for this video. I hope you guys enjoyed it. I hope you have had the most amazing of days, and I will hopefully see you in my next one. Bye.